Hey everybody, and here as you can see I'm in Hitman. Don't worry, this is not part of the Hitman Elusive Target, especially for E3. They added that this week, so I'm actually about to do it, but that will be a separate video. That will be the video to end E3 week. I think taking out a separate target during E3 might be a good finisher. But what I wanted to talk about is, you might have noticed if you watched the Sony video, is that I had some audio problems. I went to get my food, and then when I got back, I forgot to turn something off where it recorded my voice twice. I had two audio lines, and so I decided to delete that. It was also fine because some of the footage was, or the video was blocked in some countries because of audiovisual content. The Microsoft press conference has the exact same problem. There are a few countries where you cannot watch it, unfortunately, and I also believe not on smartphones, if I'm not mistaken, so that kind of sucks. But you know, that's the way it works. That was also the case with E3 last year, where, you know, it's such a long show. It's 1 hour or 1.5 hours, and there will be things in there. You know, they use copyrighted songs that they asked the license for, and, you know, we YouTubers simply don't have it, so we don't get it. You know, I might be able to get rid of that by lowering the volume on some parts, but then again, if it's audio visual quality, I'm not able to get rid of that. The only way where you can do that is maybe if you do separate videos on each of the trailers. So you will have, like, I don't know, 30 videos, separate videos for me doing, you know, reaction to each trailer. But I already talked about it last week that I really hate those people that do that. But then, you know, again, they don't have to deal with problems like this. So because of that, in this video, I will be talking later. I will be talking about Ubisoft, my thoughts on the Ubisoft press conference, and I will also be doing the reaction videos on the Mount & Blade trailer and the ArmA trailer. But first, let's talk a little bit about the PlayStation or the Sony press conference, since I deleted that because of reasons. And I have to say that I was very, very, very pleased with Sony's press conference, and mostly because the tempo was very high and they only concentrated on games. I don't think they stopped the press conference once to talk about statistics or announce something, you know, Sony Online related. They just games. Now, in terms of the eventual winner, I do have to admit that I still am going for the Xbox conference, purely because I'm not an Xbox fanboy. Don't worry, I don't have an Xbox myself, and also last year I thought Sony was the better. But what Xbox had, what Sony didn't have, was the announcement of Xbox Anywhere, where you buy a game on Xbox and you can play it on Windows. And for me, for doing Let's Plays or filming, it's so much easier to do it on a PC. So the fact that I will now have the first-party Xbox titles available on my PC is incredible. Not to mention that if you actually do own an Xbox, you can actually buy the game, and then you can play for free on a PC as well. You know, in a way, Sony kind of tried that, where you buy one and you can play it on your, like, PS Vita or PSP or whatever. Still, it's not the same thing, and it is actually, since of course, you know, Microsoft had such a big market over PCs as well, it is something that they can do and Sony could not. But other than that, I thought Sony was fantastic. Somebody gave me shit for criticizing the not The Last of Us, The Last Guardian. Sorry, but I think that game has had its best time. That game has been so long under development and stuff, and I don't care. That little kid is fucking annoying to me. I thought it didn't look all that pretty. It looked very choppy. I don't know, man. It's I don't know. Like it seems to me like it's finally coming out and people are happy, but we only see glimpses of it. We saw a trailer last year's E3 and we haven't seen anything in that whole time, and then we see something now, very short glimpse, and then it's like, yeah, it's coming out real soon and people are happy. I think it's going to be kind of meh, to be honest. And yeah, if you don't think like that, well, fuck you. that's what I think. You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. You know, you don't have to, you know, share the same opinion as I do, but if you don't agree, then you know, that's fine. You can keep it to yourself. Anyway, other than that, so they started really good with God of War, and I was at first confused on what it is with the story. I haven't played God of War 3, so I don't know if this is like a sequel to where he actually has somewhere else, but to me it felt like a reimagining of God of War, where they now took like a northern mythology, and either that, or it might even be a prequel, because I believe that in the first God of War, the story is that Kratos was driven insane because the gods made him kill his wife and child, and he actually has a son here. But I thought that it was a little bit different. It felt more like I don't know, Uncharted, GTA, like, where the camera was behind Kratos himself. But the most important thing for me was that it was more story driven, it would seem, where Kratos struggled with the emotions he had for his son and his little boy who could not bring in his heart to kill a deer. Who grows up in this violent and cruel world. So I think they can do some really, really interesting things with that. Other than that, they had Days Gone. I believe that kind of, it felt very Last of Us to me, and it almost felt to me like a Last of Us, like, I don't know, a B version of that. It looked good, and I thought they did some kind of funny things with animation quality and also voice acting quality, where it felt genuine, but it missed that finesse that the Uncharted and Last of Us had. And it just felt to me like, we don't have a Last of Us 2, so we gotta give him something kind of similar. So that was that. I mean, I was impressed with the huge amount of zombies we saw in the end, but they still actually have to do a little more to sweep me away. I mean, Joel is such a charismatic character, is such a good character. Not only because, like, you feel for the guy, but also because he's not necessarily a good guy. In The Last of Us, Tess talks about that they did really cruel stuff. Like, they probably, like, robbed innocent people or killed innocent people to get their stuff in the past, and there's so much lore and history to Joel itself. So that's I think is really good. And Ellie's also a great character. So Days Gone, I am impressed and I'm looking forward to it, but they still need to show me more to actually really get me hyped for that. Other than that, they had, of course, Detroit. Very excited about that, especially because I didn't like Beyond Two Souls. I thought, what was that called? Heavy Rain was a good game. I enjoyed it a lot, but I did play it differently. I played it with my friends, where one of us would be two characters and the other would be two characters, and kind of would see how the story would unfold. I actually played it with my girlfriend too, and that was also very, very fun. And Beyond Two Souls didn't have that. It was too much focused on the celebrity performers that you didn't really have a choice. You could do things in different ways, but it didn't really alter the storyline that much. And here it did seem that they would take that a little bit further, where you could actually do things different ways. The question is, how much impact will it actually have on the story? Where it's the same with Heavy Rain. Even though you could do things different, the story didn't really change. And also, Heavy Rain had a horrible female character who, in the beginning, she does investigative work on the killer, and then after a while she just falls in love and absolutely does absolute shit. So I hope they do that a little bit better here. Anyway, what else we had? We had Lego Star Wars. That was all fun and games, but whatever. They had the VR experience, which was cool, and I was glad it actually looked prettier than some of the stuff we saw at Ubisoft. I might actually talk about that. I already recorded my Ubisoft thoughts, so I might actually talk about that as well. But yeah, no, I was of course impressed with the Star Wars VR and stuff, and what I mostly was impressed, of course, by was the Resident Evil demo. Oh my god, oh my god, I want to play that so bad. So many people always say, like, yeah, they're going back to their roots. I remember that they actually said that about Resident Evil 6 as well. Resident Evil 6 sucks. It is horrible, terrible, and one of the few games out there where I say, God, this game is too long. That game was like over 20 hours to complete. And terrible script writing, characters, and just monotone action. So I hope with this first-person vibe that they're going for, I hope it's very cool as well. What I only hope is that it will be a cool experience for you as well if you don't have the Vive. I hope they will, or VR. I hope they will make it to where both people with VR and non-people can enjoy a lengthy, horrific experience. Then we had, of course, Horizon Zero Dawn. You would think, well, as a Dutch person, I would be very interested in that because the creators, Guerrilla Games, are Dutch. Former makers of Killzone, or actually former members, just they made Killzone before. But I'm not gonna lie, that style doesn't do anything to me. I don't like the whole mix of like Stone Age with dinosaurs, and I don't know. It's just. I like dinosaurs itself. It's just these robot dinosaurs. I don't know. It's just it missed something for me. It's not my kind of style. And of course, I think we're coming to the end of the thing. There might still be something that I'm missing, but I think I talked about the most important things. Anyway, the oh wait, we had Spider-Man. That was interesting. Made by Insomniac, so that's the first party game right there. But we had, of course, Hideo Kojima come up stage, and oh, they also talked about Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, whatever. It's just a remake, so okay, they don't actually dare to make a new one, I guess. Anyway, so Hideo Kojima came on stage, and he showed his new project with Norman Reedus, and yeah, no, I was very interested. I was very hyped. I mean, it really showed a good sort of like atmosphere impression. Of course, we're not going to see any gameplay until probably E3 next year, but that's fine. I hope that Hideo Kojima kind of gets to do what he wanted for Silent Hills in this. It seemed creepy, it seemed like an adventure, and what I'm really happy to is that that man finally can do something different than Metal Gear Solid. He also did some Zone of the Enders games before, but the problem with doing the Metal Gear series all the time is that he's very restricted in terms of what he can and cannot do on the laws of that created universe. You know, he cannot go all out because he already has made these certain games, so there's this storyline that he needs to follow. And, you know, by making this, the Death Stranding game, he can create a whole new world with its own new rules, its own new characters, and I cannot wait to see the brilliance of Hideo Kojima himself on there. I hope Sony will give him absolute, you know, control. I've heard stories that the guy is really difficult to work with because even though he's a brilliant man, he's always too late with deadlines. You know, he specifically wants things like he wants, but in the past we've always seen that, you know, often it's very, very, very cool what he turns out. So I hope it will probably take a long time before we actually see that game in action, but I have all trust in Mr. Kojima himself. So yeah, so with that we will switch over to the previous video that I made where I talk about the Ubisoft and the PC Gamer Conference. Anyway guys, enjoy your E3. I am going to kill this guy, the sensation, hopefully, and I will see you guys next time. Hey everybody, and welcome to a fairly short video where I talk about the Ubisoft press conference and my reactions to the ArmA footage and Mount & Blade footage that was shown during the PC gaming show. Reason why I didn't do a Ubisoft videos, but then an hour in my footage got corrupted and I didn't want to do the whole hour again and stuff. So overall, I thought Ubisoft's press conference was good, but it's, you know, it's starting to kind of repeat itself. It's good quality, but it, you know, they didn't do anything to surprise, and it was actually in fact a little bit long because, like I said, my recording got dropped an hour in, and there was still a lot, like there was still like 40 minutes left, and they kind of showed some cool stuff. I liked the South Park game that they did. They did some interesting things there where you can now move, and you actually have objects and props you can kick them into. I thought that the Ghost Recon game looked cool, but I don't know, it was very, very action-packed. I don't know how the stealth system works. It feels a little bit like ArmA, and also mixed between ArmA and Rainbow Six and how you cooperate. But I did think that the chase in the end was very cool, where one was on a motorbike and the other was in the car and the other was in a chopper. That felt very grand scale. The assault on the camp itself, though, was a bit, I don't know, it felt a little bit weird how quick the action was. To my knowledge, Ghost Recon, the very old ones, so not Advanced Warfighter, but they were very slow paced and you didn't kill a whole lot of enemies, but here they killed like a whole army. Other than that, they had, of course, Watch Dogs 2. Now, I didn't really care for Watch Dogs, so that was not that much. They had that snow game, the snowboard game. Also doesn't really do anything for me, to be honest. The Star Trek VR game I thought looked kind of interesting, but again, it's a lot of the VR games are very early stage, and you know, it's the baby steps of VR, so it's all more tech demo-y, not grand stories, and that's what this felt well. It's probably like just some random like events that can happen, and you need to solve that together. But it's pretty cool that everybody actually does have a function, and everybody really has a different like objective that they need to do. One's shields, one's weapons, and captain, etc., etc. The bird thing VR I thought looked kind of clunky. It also looked kind of ugly, to be honest. For Honor, I don't know about that, man. It's okay, but it doesn't blow me away. It feels like it misses an like iconic characters or something. It's just, yeah, we have Vikings and knights and samurai, but like, okay, who's like, is there a character I can like, you know, how do you say it in English? I can relate to? Like, is there a main character with more of a background story and that sort of thing? And they kind of showed a campaign, and they showed a section that reminded me of Rise, or what was it? Rise Rome or something? Rise of Rome? Which, I don't know. It's, you know, it was okay. But again, especially, I think that the winners of this E3 are, for me, Microsoft because of the Xbox Everywhere and PlayStation, because they just, you know, did games, good tempo on both of them. And I think Ubisoft needed to tweak it a little bit. Love Aisha Taylor though. She's doing such a great job. Anyway, I have here Mount and Blade Bannerlord. I'm very curious. The only reason why I do this, by the way, is because it was requested. Originally, I wouldn't do these kind of videos where I do just one trailer. In this case, I do two. Oh, that's nice. That chips away at the environment. Now, I already saw the Gamescom footage, and they have more units in the vanilla game already. They didn't say an exact number, so I don't know. In the original game, I think you could have up to 150 units. And then the Napoleon one, you could have like up to 200, 250, or maybe even 300. I hope they do something like 500, maybe even more here. But with 500 as a vanilla game where it's stable, I would already be happy. It looks nice, but this game, of course, we already saw footage of this like 2 years ago or something. And I think when it will be released, I already kind of look ugly.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
But of course, I'm mostly
I just want you to start off
excited
by
for all the
talking a little
mods.
bit about what is Mount and Blade for those who are unfamiliar.
Okay, to summarize very, very quickly, Mount and Blade is an action, RPG, strategy, simulation, sandbox, very like amalgam of all those genres. And what you are is essentially, you're like just a regular person in the world. You can become a lord, you can rule your own faction, you fight in the battles alongside your troops when you're commanding them as well. There's politics, there's trade. It's very much a feudal simulation game.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I brought up the combat earlier. I mean, a lot of games have you hit the button to do the punch.
Nice.
But I mean, in Mount and Blade, it's much more physical, much more involved. And I mean, here, this is the big news of Mount and Blade 2, the Siege. Walk me through what we're seeing here.
Okay, well, this is our Siege gameplay, and really this is kind of one of the areas of the game
Love the
where players want
catapults.
to see
That's
most
really
improvement
cool.
from us. So what we did is we worked a lot. We added in loads of different mechanics. So we've got things like destruction now.
Same
got
sound
ballista,
file.
mangonels, and obviously as the player you can just push your soldier aside, grab one, fire right at that battlement, blast a piece of it off, and you're essentially very, very involved in the fight. We have like multiple lanes of attack now as well, and you have to deploy, choose how you approach each castle.
And right now, how many players are there on each side, or excuse me, humans on each side in this fight?
Well, yeah, essentially this is one of our single-player sieges, and we have like 350 guys on our side, and the defenders have a bit less, on 150. So there's about 500 total, all operating individually, acting independently.
It's what I said.
Their own attacks and blocks, but we can push that a little bit further in the final game, we think.
And how does a siege evolve over time? What's the
Maybe even
beginning,
more, maybe
middle, and end
600.
of a siege?
Woo.
Well, essentially you're doing a siege to take over some land, right? Exploit the natural resources and sort of gain more money because you sort of expanded your faction. So you spend some time on the campaign map bombarding, doing some damage to the castle, and then you get into the fight and have this huge dramatic, climactic battle against the enemy.
I mean, I understand that so much of the inspiration from the game is just historical research. How does that factor into the siege?
That's exactly right. I mean, that's a huge part of the way we design the game. We actually look at history, we look at what worked, and also why it worked. So you see these murder holes up here. I mean, like getting into a castle is supposed to be a real, like, massive pain, right? It's a really hard thing to do. And so once you're trying to smash down that gate, you've got the defenders from above, like throwing rocks, throwing jars of oil all over you, and you're having a really hard time fighting this very historically themed castle.
I mean, the scope of it is just incredible. And I mean, I know with all the intricate systems, not just the combat, but the political, the economic system, that modding is a really big part of Mount and Blade as well.
Absolutely. I mean, modding has been part of Mountain Blade right from the very start. I mean, from the very beta of the first game, we had modders coming in, and it's really sort of helped to fuel our community growth and helped to actually kind of fuel development in a way as well. We've taken a lot of ideas from the modding scene. So in Bannerlord, we tried to give back to the community because we love them so much, and what we're going to do is we're going to give them all of the tools which we use for development, and also we're going to allow them to combine mods. So someone might make a mod which changes something about diplomacy, someone might add a skill, and then another person adds maybe like, you know, a new weapon or an armor, and players can actually grab all of those mods, combine them into one,
awesome.
and play them in the game. Yeah.
That's very nice. I like that.
Played Mountain Blade,
But I usually am the
strongly
total
recommend it.
conversion
Frank,
mods.
Thanks so much for coming out. and
Nothing
talking about
that
Mountain
was
Blade
quick.
2.
Okay, hold on. I already looked up kind of where ArmA was.
Our next video piece is from the maker of Lords of the Fallen, creating another game inspired by
Is that what the fuck is that?
Difficult or sometimes sad history, and we know that our modders are they're the kind of gamers that will go out there and make new scenarios based on it and inspired by that. And we're really looking forward to seeing what they come up with.
And I'm excited now to start off this world exclusive, the very first look at ArmA 3 Apex.
Delta 1-0. Be advised, that's my call sign complete. Now moving to objective London. Out. Roger. Launcher arc. PID all packed. Go when ready. Almost, you're up. On it.
As a 4-player co-op campaign. Very cool.
Go, go!
Alright, we got physics. There's already physics in there, by the way. I played around with it, and it sucked. I got all things like clipping through tables and like fucking chairs being flown off. That looks pretty. I bet you, if there's some modders out there, you could get some like Colombian 11 July. Okay, that's pretty quick. You can get like I'll probably
Jay, you
pre-order it
snuck a
after
release
the
date in
15th.
on us.
Yeah, we might have seen the first announcement of our release date. That's the 11th of July, or July 11th, if we're going English simplified.
I didn't even know what you said at first. I'm so glad you translated it back to American.
And aside from that, maybe you might have seen snuck in there as well was right now the guys back in Prague staying up late watching the show, helping us out. They've just pushed the button on, hopefully, pushed the button on a special Apex sneak preview build. So if you've pre-ordered Apex and if you're on the development branch, right now you're downloading all of those.
Right now?
Yeah, right now you're downloading those weapons and vehicles and Tanware itself, of course.
I already
So
saw
ISP is
that.
going nuts and
That
yeah.
the
2 gigabytes
workshop
going
is
down the
being
pipe right
flooded
now.
with
That's
maps
awesome.
and
So,
missions
I
for
mean,
that.
mods could be part of the official launch date now.
Well, exactly. We have a few weeks. You can kind of get on board, help us with our...
More so, I saw
beta
yesterday
testing
that a
for this,
Warhammer mod
release
was
of
released
July
for
11th.
ArmA 3. That
We'll
was
see,
interesting.
everything that we know and love in splendid green hell fashion.
That's awesome, Jay. Thank you so much for coming out. Jay Crow from Bohemia Interactive and ArmA.
Okay, I don't know. People wanted to know my reaction. Okay, it's short. I mean, it has a 4-player co-op campaign. I'm looking forward to that. I think that their campaigns are very ambitious. Yet, for example, with ArmA 2, and I'm not talking about Operation Arrowhead. I'm talking about original. They clearly did not have the resources to make a proper, stable campaign. Me and Sparkus had so many bugs, glitches, and errors getting through that. And then from Operation Arrowhead, they really did some cool stuff where you had this campaign, and if you would play it co-op, you would be part of the same battle at totally different perspectives, fighting on the same side, but like different areas of the map. One was in a chopper, the other thing. That's kind of what it reminded me of with the Ghost Recon, but you know, done well. So I'm very curious what they will do here. And like I said, the whole new Tanoa map will hopefully create some really cool new mods out there. You know, I'm seeing storylines or something, or missions for, you know, where you need to go into the jungle, find these like drug cartels or something. You know, these drug operating in the jungle, making heroin and that sort of stuff. I hope to God they do some more stuff with the divers, though. I really felt that the divers were abandoned really quickly after ArmA 3. When ArmA 3 was released, I remember they really were pronking with the or like we're showing off with the fact like, yeah, we have diver and we have underwater combat, and then they never actually did something with it. They added like one submarine, but it was really boring. It was nothing to do there, so I think it got wasted, and I hope that they will do a little bit more with that here. They definitely have the right setting to do more with it, since there are like, you know, these lush, probably like creeks, rivers, lakes, etc., etc. So anyway, guys, that was it. Short. Yeah, no, Mount and Blade. That was better for me because now I know, and now I have an answer. At least 500 units can be played in the battles, and that is something I'm very, very excited about. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.